Alrighty, this is Isaiah Sorensen,
Drew Zimmerman,
Levi Haskell,
Amalia Scanlon.
and this is our fifth assignment.
sixth.
Sixth?
Sure. Yeah,
Sixth
sixth.
assignment
Sixth
for
assignment.
Communication Ethics and Theories. Today we are talking on chapter 16, which is Cognitive Dissonance Theory, which essentially is the dissection of what happens when your beliefs and your actions are contrary to each other, and essentially how far you can be pushed before you will either change your beliefs to match your actions or change your actions to meet your beliefs. One of the main examples in this is one of Aesop's fables where he talks about the fox jumping to reach the grapes. He fails to do so, so since he can't reach the grapes, he says, oh, they would have been sour anyway, so even if I had gotten them, I would not have eaten them. So this is a case where his actions and his beliefs, he believes the grapes are good, so he's jumping for them. However, he fails to reach the grapes. So he either has to acknowledge that his actions were a failure, or he has to acknowledge that the thing he was after in the first place is in fact the failure to justify his actions of walking away. So it's a very interesting theory. It has many different ways it can be applied, and is very useful for, I think, looking into your own mind and seeing maybe why you act in certain ways, especially when your actions are hypocritical to what you tell other people.
So this time, I again did the AI with Copilot, and I took inspiration from one of the other groups, and in week one, they said that they gave a bunch of context as to what the AI was being required to do. So I told it that my professor wants us to ask an AI for a summary because I need it for a class, and it responded incredibly poorly. I had expected it to be bad, just because in my experience it normally does do that, but it is very poor because it's summarizing in very specific ways. Like, it covered everything, but it didn't really expound on anything. It wasn't helpful in learning anything at all. It covered the smoking thing, and it covered like the $1 lie, but it was not specific at all. I don't really know why this is. Maybe it's because it's under like heavy scrutiny that it tried to be as narrow as possible. But yeah, especially for this chapter, I was kind of surprised at how bad it was in doing this. So I'll start off with a real life example that I've had. I've always said, I'm a big time gamer, but when I started playing Fortnite, I was like, you know what, this is a decently good game, but like the thing that you can buy in the game is skins, and skins literally don't do anything for the game itself. You literally change the appearance of your person for money, and that is it. And I always told myself, this is not worth it. And then they offered me this battle pass, and you know, the battle pass, I had always been like, that's such a scam. They're just trying to get you to buy money for skins. But then I'm like, wait a minute. The battle pass is worth $10, but they give me more than $10 in V-Bucks if I play the game enough and I buy the battle pass. So I'm kind of like getting free money, and then I ended up spending like a total of $30 because sometimes a skin I can't wait to get it, or I don't get all the levels for the battle pass, and now I'm stuck with having spent a bunch of money on skins, and I don't regret it, and I don't know why.
I mean, that's where the cognitive dissonance theory would come in, and it would say that since you don't regret it, you've most likely changed how you view Fortnite and the skins. Mm-hmm. Maybe now it's not just a stupid thing that changes the look. Maybe it's now, you know, when I roll out in my X Turbo skin.
Captain Hook.
There, Captain Hook. It adds a level of fear to the opposition, which makes winning battles more efficient. So I've in fact made my character progressively better than the opposition.
I have also tried to convince myself that the pickaxes do give me different amounts of materials based on what kind of pickaxe I'm using. And I still don't know if it's true. I swear it's true. The pickaxe has to do something different.
was thinking was, I struggle with like getting stuck and just like doom scrolling or like being on screens for like way too long. But I've looked into like multiple studies and stuff of like it's not good for you to be on screens for extended periods of time, especially if it's just like scrolling social media. It literally like degenerates your brain. It's really bad. And I know all those things, but like it's so hard to get off sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And then it's just this thing of like, well shoot, okay, so I know it's a bad thing, but it's like the smoker's fallacy that they keep using where it's like, well, smoking's bad, but I'm not a chain smoker.
Yeah.
So, at least I'm not constantly watching screens. You know, I know people who are worse, but it's still like, not great for me.
I feel like a good example for many people, maybe a little bit me, maybe sometimes I don't know, I may not kind of am true to my like the things that I say in an interview. For an example, that's the example that I'm going to be using. So like if you're trying to like get a job somewhere and you tell them like, oh, you're very driven or like you're disciplined, whatever, you are excited to complete tasks, something like that, and then first weekend and it's like your boss sees you and you're just on your phone, not even caring about like what's happening around you, and that's where it's like you told your boss like everything like that you're about, and then that's really not you, so you're basically being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's a good example of like the what's called cognitive theory or
Cognitive dissonance theory.
dissonance theory. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the example that I had in mind. So.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing with the cognitive dissonance theory isn't in fact the acknowledgement of the dissonance, but how people resolve it. And I think it really shows like maybe even your inner character.
Yeah,
Maybe like
I would agree.
who you are. Because if you're someone who creates hypocrisy and immediately is like,
Big spider. Anyways.
and it's immediately like, oh crud, like that's not a big spider. What are you talking? Okay, whatever.
Wasn't too bad.
And it's immediately like,
That wasn't good.
wow, crud, like I was a hypocrite in that matter. I feel like that's extremely difficult to do, like especially if it's public, especially if it's a thing where like you tell your siblings, you know, oh, don't spend more than an hour on video game, and then you sit for like 3 hours, and then they catch you doing it. It's so easy to just reframe it and be like, well, yeah, duh, of course it's better for you guys. Like, you're kids. I'm an adult. My brain can handle it, or whatever nonsense you try to spew. I think it's an interesting thought to keep on the back burner of, like, maybe the next time you're accused of hypocrisy, being able to pause and actually be like, maybe this is true. And if it is, do I change my ideals or do I change my actions?
And it is hard to admit if it is something where it's like, okay, yeah, I am being a hypocrite in this thing, so, but yeah, I would agree.
I guess that's what we got.
We're done.
See you later. Mm-hmm.